Kobe Bryant is the greatest NBA basketball player of all time. The GOAT in my eyes, my opinion. Now, if you ask me my top 5 NBA players of all time, I change them up a little bit. But one thing for sure, two things for certain, Kobe Bryant will always be at that number one spot. You feel me? Now, the rest of the list, the other 4 players, they most likely Kobe Bryant's top rivals throughout his career. So I got all respect to all the NBA legends and greats because I'm so passionate about basketball and sports in general. Basketball and sports kept me out of trouble when I was a kid. So big ups to LeBron, big up to Jordan, but Kobe Bryant is the GOAT, the best player in NBA history in my eyes. Here's why, part 2. Now in this video, I will go over competition levels. I'm going to split it up in threes: individual competition, we got team playoff competition, and then we got finals competition for MJ, LeBron, and Kobe. So I'm going to try to get through this fairly quick so it won't be that long of a video. Let's start off with individual competition. I'm going to try not to be biased towards Kobe Bryant and just call it how I see it. That being said, I didn't get to watch MJ's whole career. He was drafted to the Bulls in 1984, so his rookie year was the 84-85 NBA season. I'm a huge basketball fan, collected basketball cards when I was a little guy, so I know about players from the 80s and so on. Let's start off with Michael Jordan. His timeline is going to be from 1984 to 1998. NBA season, not including his time with the Washington Wizards. Off top, MJ was a straight-up problem for the players in the league. Most would say he was unstoppable. At the beginning of his career, Larry Bird and Magic Johnson were both dominating the NBA, and most people would say that they were his toughest overall individual competition. But as we all know, Jordan quickly changed the mind of basketball fans, the NBA, and even Magic and Bird, which they even said they passed the torch to Jordan because they noticed he was clearly the best basketball player at that time. So to everybody, Jordan became the best player in the NBA with basically no close second. Now, the NBA has some all-time great players, Hall of Famers in the league during this period from the 84-85 season to 1998 timeline. But in my eyes, Jordan was clearly the best, and he had nobody really coming for that number one spot. Players such as Dominique Wilkins, Charles Barkley, Karl Malone, Hakeem Olajuwon, Shaquille O'Neal, Patrick Ewing, Sean Kemp, John Stockton, Kevin McHale, James Worthy, Moses Malone, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Dennis Rodman, David Robinson, Joe Dumars, Grant Hill, Reggie Miller, Alice English, Sidney Moncrief, Gary Payton, and more was in the league during this time frame. As far as 1v1 competition, MJ's toughest competition was Isaiah Thomas, Clyde Drexler, Charles Barkley, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird. I also got to put Dominique Wilkins and probably Gary Payton on that list. And I can't forget about the showdowns he had with a young Allen Iverson and a young Kobe Bryant as well, who both were drafted in what most people would call the greatest NBA draft class of all time, the 1996 NBA draft class. So MJ did compete against that 96 draft class for a few years while winning 2 NBA championships. So overall, to recap, after Bird and Magic finished doing their thing, Michael Jordan basically dominated the league for some time, winning 6 NBA championship rings, three-peating on 2 separate occasions. And when it comes down to 1v1 competition debates, people usually say Michael Jordan versus Isaiah Thomas, Michael Jordan versus Clyde Drexler, MJ versus Charles Barkley, MJ versus Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Dominique Wilkins. Had some great showdowns with Kobe Bryant and Allen Iverson as well. Okay, let's check out the NBA MVPs during this time frame. Jordan rookie year, Larry Bird won it. His sophomore year, Larry Bird won it as well. Magic Johnson won the NBA MVP in 1987. Jordan was able to capture the NBA MVP in his 4th season, 1988. Salute to MJ for that. Magic Johnson won it again in 1989 and 1990. After that, MJ won the NBA MVP award in 91 and 92. Charles Barkley was able to earn the NBA MVP award in 93. MJ retired from the league in 1994, so he didn't play in the league in 94, in which we saw Hakeem Olajuwon win the NBA MVP. In 1995, David Robinson won the NBA MVP. And that year, MJ returned to the league. He only played 17 games that year later on in the season. In 1996, MJ bounced back and won the NBA MVP again. Then he started to share that award with Karl Malone. Karl Malone won it in 1997. Jordan won it in 1998. So overall, 4 people besides MJ won the league MVP award during this time frame of the 84-85 season to 1998. MJ, Bird, Magic, Charles Barkley, and Karl Malone. Not going to add Hakeem Olajuwon because MJ wasn't in the league that year. Not going to add David Robinson because MJ only played a few games that season. So people everywhere say MJ is the greatest of all time, and you cannot deny that. He was a straight beast, basically unstoppable during his era. I just don't see anyone that was really a close second that really gave him that challenge of being the #1 player in the NBA while he was doing this thing. All right, now let's talk about Kobe's individual competition from his rookie season at 1996-97 season to 2013. I stopped at 2013 because that's the year he tore his Achilles and his career went on a downslide, basically the end of his career, his last legs, before he retired from the league. So his individual competition level to me was pretty high. The NBA was stacked with a lot of great players throughout the 90s, late 90s, 2000s, and so forth. Now, Kobe started his career coming off the bench, had to overcome a lot of doubters before he got his real chance to showcase his talent among his peers, etc. That being said, Kobe got to compete against players from Jordan's era, along with his era and the era that came after that. Besides players who played in Jordan's era, like we discussed earlier, Jordan, Gary Payton, Grant Hill, and so forth, Karl Malone, John Stockton. The NBA featured players in their prime such as Shaq, Tim Duncan, Dirk Nowitzki, Kevin Garnett, Vince Carter, Steve Nash, Yao Ming, Stephon Marbury, Gilbert Arenas, Ron Artest, Ray Allen, Chris Webber, Jason Kidd, and more. Kobe had amazing competition rivalries with players such as Allen Iverson, Paul Pierce, and Tracy McGrady, and at a point in his career, his longtime partner in LA, Shaquille O'Neal. And that was before LeBron James and the next era of great basketball players entered the NBA. The 90s, 2000s era was definitely fantastic. Many people consider it the best era of NBA history. Basketball was amazing. Jordan was clearly seen as the best player of the era before. His competitive nature seemed to spark a fuse that inspired the next generations to come after him. These players I mentioned put on a show every night, leading to some very competitive, entertaining NBA basketball. Now, moving forward, at this championship run with Shaq, Kobe saw a new era of all-time great players into the NBA, starting in 2003, like we discussed, with LeBron James, D. Wade, Melo, players such as Chris Paul, Kevin Durant, D. Rose, Russell Westbrook, James Harden, Steph Curry, and even Giannis. Side note, those all-time great players that I just mentioned, the D Wades and the Derrick Roses, they were in the league for 2 or more years, besides Curry and Giannis, when Kobe took the Lakers without Shaq to 3 straight finals, winning back-to-back rings in 2009 and 2010. Kobe only got to win one league MVP during this time frame that we are discussing, in which I kind of understand considering he played with Shaq for about 8 or more years before really becoming that #1 option on the team. So players such as Shaq, Allen Iverson, Tim Duncan, KG, Steve Nash, Dirk Nowitzki, LeBron, D. Rose, they all won league MVPs during this time frame. And can't forget about MJ and Karl Malone for the first couple of years of Kobe Bryant's career. If you ask me though, Kobe Bryant's individual competition level was a little higher than Michael Jordan. He went against players from Jordan era, such as Jordan, Karl Malone, John Stockton, his era, such as Allen Iverson, T-Mac, which Jordan got to play against Allen Iverson and them as well, T-Mac, but Kobe also got to face LeBron in that next era as far as KD, Steph Curry, and so forth. So to me, his competition, individual competition level is a little higher than Michael Jordan's. So when it comes to individual competition debates, like throughout the years, we always mention Kobe versus Jordan, Kobe versus Allen Iverson, Kobe versus T-Mac, Kobe versus Paul Pierce, Kobe versus Shaq, Kobe versus LeBron, and I cannot forget about the legendary Kobe stoppers that was throughout the league. I just love when they said it was a Kobe stopper, and Kobe loved it too, to go against those great defenders in them games that was deemed the Kobe stoppers. With that being said, let's go on to LeBron's individual competition level. Now, as far as LeBron goes, we're going to look at the year 2003-2004 season to about present time. I believe his individual competition level, is similar to Kobe's, very close. They got to face a lot of the same players, but LeBron never faced Jordan, and I got to really put Giannis on LeBron's list of 1v1 competition. So LeBron came into the league in 03-04, that 03-04 season. So let's check it out. Iverson was still balling in the league. T-Mac was still balling before his injury started in 2006. Kevin Garnett was still balling in Minnesota before going to the Celtics, in which he saw LeBron a lot when he went to the Celtics. Shaq was still a problem for a few years in LeBron's career. Tim Duncan, Dirk, Paul Pierce were some rivalries for LeBron as well throughout his career. Can't forget about his draft class teammates, Dwayne Wade, Carmelo Anthony. Derrick Rose was a problem for LeBron as well before he got injured. And players such as Steph Curry and Kevin Durant and Giannis, we add all them to the list of individual competition levels for LeBron. So like I said before, LeBron and Kobe basically saw the same type of level of individual competition. But LeBron kind of caught Kobe's era at the last leg of their prime, like Kobe kind of caught Jordan eras at the last leg of their prime. Some would say players like Iverson, T-Mac, Shaq, and Grant Hill was like kind of on the last leg of their prime when LeBron entered the NBA. Now, as far as LeBron goes, when it comes to individual competition debates, we always hear LeBron versus Kevin Durant, LeBron versus D-Wade, LeBron versus Kobe, LeBron versus Steph Curry, and LeBron versus Giannis. As far as MVPs go, from that 03-04 season to present, when he first started his career, that Kobe era was still winning MVPs. Players such as KG, Steve Nash, Dirk, and Kobe. But after that, LeBron and his era took over and kind of started winning the NBA MVPs, with LeBron leading the way, winning 4. So players such as LeBron, Derrick Rose, KD, Steph Curry, Westbrook, James Harden, Giannis, and Joker all won league MVPs during this time frame. So that's the individual league competition. Hope that didn't take too long. We're going to jump into the team playoff competition right quick. Starting with Michael Jordan. In the 1986 and the 1987 NBA playoffs, MJ and the Bulls lost to some legendary Boston Celtics teams. In 1988, 89, and 90 in the NBA playoffs, Jordan and the Bulls lost to the bad boy Detroit Pistons, Isaiah Thomas in the game, which most people would consider the Detroit Pistons teams to be MJ's toughest competition overall in his career. Jordan beat Patrick Ewing and the Knicks 3-0, Barkley and the Celtics 4-1, and he finally beat Isaiah and the Pistons by sweeping them 4-0 in the 1991 playoffs before he won his first championship. And then he just went off to destroy the league. The Bulls won 7 games with the New York Knicks in the 1992 NBA playoffs and 6 games with the Knicks in the 1993 NBA playoffs. They obviously won the NBA championship both years. In 1994, MJ retired from the league, but came back in the end of the 95 season, playing 17 games before the Bulls lost to Shaq and Orlando Magic's 4-2 in the second round of that year's playoffs. Reggie Miller and the Indiana Pacers took MJ and the Bulls to 7 games in the 1998 playoffs, Chicago winning 4-3 before winning the championship. So overall, Jordan faced some tough Celtics teams to start off his career and some really tough Pistons teams as well. But after he got past the Pistons team, he really just dominated. He did go 7 games with the Knicks and the Pacers. And if you ask me, the Knicks was the only real challenge for Jordan when the Bulls during his first three-peat, and the Indiana Pacers was like the only real challenge for Jordan and the Bulls during his second three-peat. I will go over the NBA champions throughout the time frame as well, but I don't want the video to be too long. We're going to jump right into Kobe Bryant's playoff competition level. Let's get it. In the 1997 NBA playoffs, Kobe and the Lakers lost to Karl Malone, John Stockton, and the Utah Jazz, and they again lost to John Stockton, Karl Malone, and the Utah Jazz in the 1998 playoffs when the Jazz swept the Lakers 4-0 in the conference finals. Now, that 98 playoffs, Fans could have witnessed Kobe versus Jordan in the NBA Finals if they would have got past the Utah Jazz. And in both those years, 1997 and 1998, the Utah Jazz went to the NBA Finals to face Michael Jordan and the Bulls. And in 1999 NBA playoffs, the San Antonio Spurs, led by Hall of Famers Tim Duncan and David Robinson, swept Kobe and Shaq and the Lakers before winning the NBA championship. In the year 2000, the Lakers would start their three-peat, beating Chris Webber and the Sacramento Kings, one of their overall rivalries during their time together in 5 games, winning 3-2. Also beating the Portland Trail Blazers, who was led by Hall of Famer Scottie Pippen and Rasheed Wallace in an iconic series that lasted 7 games before winning their first NBA championship. In the 2002 NBA playoffs, the Lakers went to 7 games with C. Webb and the Sacramento Kings before winning their third NBA title in a row. Kobe, Shaq, and the Lakers would lose to Tim Duncan and the Spurs in 2003, 4-2. The Spurs won the NBA championship that year. And in 2004, the Lakers faced the Spurs again, but won in 6 games. They also went 6 games with KG and the Timberwolves that playoffs before eventually losing to the Detroit Pistons, I believe, that year, Kobe and Shaq. After that, they kind of split up. Kobe had the Lakers as his own team. So we saw Kobe lose to Steve Nash and the high-scoring, fast-paced Phoenix Suns 2 years in a row, 2006 and 2007. Went 7 games with the Suns in 2006. Kobe and the Lakers would beat the trio of Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, and Manu Ginobili, who won the Spurs in the 2008 playoffs conference finals before losing to the Celtics Big Three, Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, and Ray Allen in the finals. In 2009, Kobe and the Lakers won 7 games with Yao Ming, Ron Artest, T-Mac, and the Rockets, and they won 6 games with Carmelo Anthony and the Nuggets before beating the Orlando Magic for the NBA championship. In the 2010 playoffs, Kobe and the Lakers beat a young OKC team with future Hall of Famers in Kevin Durant, Westbrook, and James Harden in 6 games, and a rival within the Phoenix Suns in 6 games before winning back-to-back championships that year. After that, the Dallas Mavericks swept the Lakers and hurt Kobe Bryant in 2011 before winning the NBA championship. The Dallas Mavericks won that year. Kobe also lost to a young KD, Westbrook, and James Harden in the OKC Thunder 4-1 in the 2012 playoffs. Before that young OKC team went on to the finals to face LeBron and the Miami Heat. So overall, Kobe played in the Western Conference, y'all. And if you're a basketball fan, you know the Western Conference dominated the NBA for some time. It was clearly the best conference in the NBA for some time. And Kobe and the Lakers faced a legendary Spurs team, a tough Kings team that's one of their top rivals, a fast-paced, scoring Phoenix Suns team. Early in his career, he had to go against that legendary Utah Jazz team with Karl Malone and John Stockton as well, among other tough teams like KD, Westbrook, and James Harden with the Thunder, Dirk with the Mavs, Yao Ming with the Rockets, and you can't forget about that iconic series that they had with the Portland Trail Blazers, him and Shaq. Kobe would go to 4 NBA Finals with Shaquille O'Neal, winning 3 championships, and to 3 straight NBA Finals without Shaquille O'Neal, winning back-to-back NBA championships. Now let's take a look at LeBron James' playoff competition level. In the 2006 NBA playoffs, LeBron and the Cavs would lose to the Detroit Pistons in 7 games, a tough Pistons team that had already beat the Lakers before with Chauncey Billups, Rip Hamilton, Tayshaun Prince, Rasheed Wallace, and Ben Wallace. He lost to them in the 2006 playoffs in 7 games. He was able to beat the same Pistons team in 2007 in 6 games before he went to the finals to face the Spurs. Got swept by the Spurs. In the 2008 playoffs, LeBron and the Cavs lost to the Boston Big Three in 7 games before Boston went to the finals. In the 2009 playoffs, LeBron and the Celtics lost to the Orlando Magic in 6 games before Orlando went to the finals. In the 2010 playoffs, LeBron lost again to the Boston Big Three in 6 games before Boston went back to the finals. Those 3 years, Boston, Orlando, and Boston went to the finals to face Kobe Bryant and the Lakers. LeBron eventually left Cleveland and went to Miami with D. Wade and Chris Bosh. And in 2011, They were able to beat Boston in the Big Three before going to the finals to face Dallas. In the 2012 playoffs, LeBron and the Miami Heat was able to beat Boston in 7 games before LeBron went to the finals and won his first NBA championship. That year, he also won 6 games with the Indiana Pacers, which was a tough team. A young Paul George and some good players was on that team. I love watching Miami Heat versus the Indiana Pacers. They were like the only team in the league that really gave the Heat a run as far as Eastern Conference. You feel what I'm saying? Very tough Indiana team. In 2013, LeBron was able to beat the Indiana Pacer team in 7 games before going to the finals. And in 2014, he beat the Indiana Pacer team in 6 games before going to the finals. In 2015, I believe it was 2015, LeBron went back to the Cavs. He had a 6-game series in 2015 with the Bulls. In 2018, LeBron had a 7-game series with Boston, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Kyrie Irving before going back to the finals. You feel me? Now, LeBron did lose to a good Denver Nuggets team in 2023 and in 2024, so the Denver Nuggets team is a pretty good team as well. Again, if you ask me, it's a close one for Kobe and LeBron, but I kind of edge it to Kobe because let's just be real, the West was a better conference during that time. A lot of big guys was in the West, a lot of good teams. It might be me being biased because LeBron did go against a good Detroit Pistons team. That Big Three Boston team, which Kobe beat in the finals, went 1-1 in the finals with. He had that Indiana team. He saw the newer Boston team as well with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. And most recently, he lost a couple years to the Denver Nuggets. But that's on the last leg of his NBA season, so I don't know if I really want to count the Denver Nuggets, but them some tough teams. So again, if you ask me, their playoff competition is pretty close as well. Jordan dominated in the playoffs a lot. Kobe dominated with Shaq like 1 year. They only lost like 1 game throughout the whole playoffs or something like that. For the most part, Jordan really put it on the Eastern Conference besides the Knicks and the Pacers. And LeBron really put it on a lot of people as well. We saw some good Detroit Pistons teams, Boston Celtics, like we just discussed, Indiana Pacers, and so forth. Y'all let me know who y'all think had the better playoff competition in the comment section. But with that being said, I'm going to jump right into the finals competition level. We try to wrap this up. Now, we're going to look at all the finals appearances, and then we compare their competition level. Now, Jordan won the NBA championship in 1991 against the Lakers, Magic Johnson and James Worthy, 4-1. He won in 92 against the Portland Trailblazers and Clyde Drexler, 4-2. In 93, he won the NBA championship, beating the Phoenix Suns 4-2 with Charles Barkley and Kevin Johnson. In 96, he faced the Seattle Supersonics, Gary Payton, Karl Malone, and won 4-2. In 97, he faced the Utah Jazz, Karl Malone and John Stockton, beat them 4-2, and he beat them 4-2 as well in 1998. MJ and the Bulls beat the Utah Jazz with Karl Malone and John Stockton. He went to 6 NBA championships. He won all 6 times that he went to the NBA Finals. That's why a lot of people consider him the GOAT. He never lost in the NBA Finals. And out of those 5 teams that I just discussed, I had to say probably Utah was the toughest competition, even though when you look at it, no team ever won 3 games against against MJ and the Bulls in the finals. He went 4-2 5 years in a row, and he beat that Laker team his first time 4-1. But that team had Magic Johnson on his last year in the NBA, and I don't think they had Michael Cooper as well, but it still was a good Laker team. And out of those 6 teams, it was 7 Hall of Famers: Magic Johnson, Gary Payton, John Stockton, Charles Barkley, Karl Malone, Clyde Drexler, and James Worthy. So he faced 7 Hall of Famers in his finals, era of going to the finals. Some good competition for Jordan. The Bulls and Jordan was not playing no games with none of those Western Conference teams. Now, as far as Kobe's finals competition go, in 2000, the Lakers went against the Pacers, Reggie Miller and the Pacers, and beat them 4-2. In 2001, Kobe and the Lakers went against Allen Iverson, Dikembe Mutombo, and the 76ers and beat them 4-1. In 2002, Kobe and the Lakers met a Jason Kidd in the New Jersey Nets team, but they swept them 4-0. In 2004, Kobe and the Lakers lost to the Detroit Pistons, Ben Wallace, in the game 4-1. In 2008, Kobe and the Lakers went against Boston in the Big Three of Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, and KG and lost 4-2. They came right back to the finals in 2009 and was able to beat Dwight Howard and Orlando Magic's 4-1, and then returned for a third year in a row in 2010. The rematch, the Boston Big Three, Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, and KG. This time, Kobe was able to beat them in a 7-game series. Overall, Kobe went to 7 NBA Finals throughout his career, winning 5 out of the 7. So his record in the NBA Finals is 5-2. And out of those 6 teams, me personally, I would say the Boston Celtics was his toughest matchup with Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, and KG. He won 7 games in 2010 and then 6 in 2008. So I think that was his toughest matchup. He also went against a good 76ers team, but they kind of crushed them. And he went against that great Detroit Pistons team who was able to beat Kobe and the Lakers in 2004. Out of those teams, it was 8 Hall of Famers and 1 future Hall of Famer in Dwight Howard. So you got Reggie Miller, Allen Iverson, Dikembe Mutombo, Jason Kidd, Ben Wallace, Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, KG, and Dwight Howard. Now let's check out LeBron James' finals competition before we wrap this thing on up. In 2007, LeBron and the Cavs went against the Spurs, as we discussed. Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, and got swept 4-0. In 2011, LeBron and the Miami Heat went against Dirk Nowitzki, Jason Kidd, and the Dallas Mavericks and lost 4-2. In 2012, LeBron and the Miami Heat went against OKC, KD, Westbrook, and Harden and won 4-1. They came back to the finals in 2013 and beat a Spurs team with basically the same players he saw in 2007. Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili beat them in 7 games. In 2014, he lost to the same Spurs team 4-1. He then went to the Cavs and he faced the Warriors in the 2015 finals. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green, and lost to them in 6 games. In 2016, he was able to beat that Warriors team in 7 games. In 2017, he lost to that Warriors team with the addition of Kevin Durant. So it was Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green. In 2017, they beat LeBron and the Cavs 4-1. And they also beat LeBron by sweeping the Cavs in 2018. So LeBron went against the Warriors 4 straight years, winning 1 out of the 4. And then he went to the Lakers and was able to take the Lakers to the finals in 2020 and beat the Miami Heat, Jimmy Butler and the Miami Heat 4-2 in the 6-game series. Some tough competition for LeBron, clearly in the finals. Out of those teams we just discussed, I would have to say that Warriors team was very, very tough. It was some very tough teams for him to face in the finals. And the Spurs team, a team that Kobe had to beat to go to the finals. And like the Dallas Mavericks team and the OKC team, Kobe had to beat those teams to go to the finals as well. But he faced that Warriors team with Klay, Curry, and Green, and then all 3 of them and Kevin Durant, which was kind of tough. And I see 5 Hall of Famers on them teams that we just discussed: Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, Dirk, and Jason Kidd. And I also see about 6 to 7 future Hall of Famers, possibly Steph Curry, Klay, Green, KD, Russell Westbrook, James Harden, and Jimmy Butler. That being said, finals competition was pretty tough. Jordan went against some great Utah Jazz teams, man. A Seattle Supersonics team as well. He went against Charles Barkley as well. Kobe went against the Boston Big Three a few times, and that Detroit Pistons team as well. Allen Iverson as well. He did go against Allen Iverson. LeBron faced some tough Spurs team, and trust me, I know they was tough because Kobe had to beat them in order to get to the finals. He faced the amazing Warriors team, and he faced the well put together veteran Dallas Mavericks team as well. LeBron record in the finals is 4-6. By the way, he won 4 NBA championships so far. Went to 10 finals, winning 4 and losing 6. And when you ask me about the finals competition, Jordan has some tough competition, man. He has some tough competition. He has 7 Hall of Famers he went against at that time. Kobe had 8. If you add Dwight Howard And then LeBron had 5 with some future Hall of Famers. If you add Curry, Clay, Green, KD, Westbrook, James Harden, he well over almost 10 Hall of Famers he done faced in the NBA Finals. This is a tough one, man, but I'm going to give this one to LeBron. I kind of wanted to split it between LeBron and MJ. Kobe faced some good teams, don't get me wrong, but the big three was, tough. They was a tough team because that was a team that LeBron had to get past as well. Just those Warriors team was so tough. I put the Utah Jazz and the Spurs kind of like in the same boat. They were some tough teams to go against. Boston, I guess I can kind of compare them to the Warriors, and the Pistons, I compare them to that Dallas Mavericks team that LeBron went against and lost. But with that being said, LeBron and Kobe did have to face a lot of the teams, a lot of the same teams, because that Pistons and that Boston team, LeBron had to overcome them in order to get to the finals. And, Kobe had to overcome that Spurs team. He lost to that Dallas Mavericks team before they won the championship that year. Really not going to add Kobe with that Warriors team as much. But I guess I can get that one to LeBron, man. That's my individual team playoff and finals competition for the three. Again, all three are GOATs in the NBA. They all have the right to call themselves the best player ever in the NBA, especially MJ, LeBron, and Kobe, but especially MJ. He's a lot of people's favorite, and you cannot deny that. But for me, it was Kobe Bryant. He was just more of my era and what I got to see him do in the league. And trust me, I'm a major Michael Jordan fan. I buy his sneakers all the time. We went into sneakers and such things as that. MJ probably would take it. Even though Kobe got some classic shoes as well, and LeBron James got some sneakers, some classic sneakers as well. So they all three hit the sneaker market and still got people buying these shoes to this day. All three, you feel me? And I'm still waiting to get the Kobe Grinches. A lot of people buy the LeBrons, and we all know everybody buy the Jordans, but that's another conversation for another day. With that being said, y'all drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know who y'all think had the toughest competition levels. And other than that, man, y'all have a great day.